30. Hi. How are you? Good. Hello, Ellen. How are you? You good?
Yes. Elaine had her finals yesterday and today. Madeline had hers last week and Monday was her last one. They both seem- What do you think went?
That's the one. And then.
Well, we had one. I've got a general one.
We can do it.
Yeah, it's that, yeah, that.
Are we? That Teresa is participating by, yeah, there she is.
Classes,
Oh, she's back from,
those two classes.
Africa. Oh. All righty, we have 4:30. All right, let's call the meeting to order. It's 4:30. Agenda item number 2 is adoption of the agenda. It's recommended the Board of Health members adopt the agenda for the December 14, 2022. Could I have a motion? A second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting the agenda as presented? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. We have adopted the agenda. Item number 3 is approval of the minutes. It's recommended Board of Health members approve the minutes of November 16, 2022. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion regarding the minutes? Hearing none, we will go ahead and vote. All those in favor of approving these minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We have approved the minutes for November 16. Next item is board president announcements. Nothing huge to say except happy holidays. We're almost at a little vacation time, I think, for some of us, right? So super excited about that. And now we get to turn it over to the health officer, presentation and report.
Thank you, President Heidi. It is my sincere belief that this health officer's report this month is so bland that you will be out of here by 5 o'clock and able to
By
celebrate.
5 o'clock.
That sounds like a challenge.
Wow.
I did want to just talk very briefly about something that's not in the report. There was a presentation put on by Chris Box and others at the State Board of Health that was an overview of the governor's Public Health Commission recommendations.
Right.
It was for the Board of Health. I attended it. I'm not sure that there was anyone here who had attended it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I would strongly encourage you to attend, or at least review the, you all should have received the PowerPoint presentation that came from it, as well as another attachment. I just strongly encourage and ask, almost beg you to look through it and support it. We're clearly going to need the support of the leadership of the Board of Health and our local officials, if we're going to elected officials, for this to be successful. So perhaps that's something I would suggest, at least perhaps something we could talk about next time. In terms of the report itself, again, very seriously, there's not a lot new. It's pretty much business as usual. I do want to point out one graph, and that's under nursing, and really do a shout out to nursing and the leadership of Jody Peretz and Mark Fox as it relates to immunizations, because you'll see that.
Can you tell us the page?
I think it's 43, though I'm working off of a penultimate draft. You'll notice that for the first time, we're actually exceeding the number of immunizations.
Yeah.
This is excluding COVID immunizations, the total number of immunizations given now exceeding where we were back in 2019. I think this is just a terrific terrific accomplishment on the part of our nursing unit. They're in fact still not fully staffed. They're still down a half a person, but they've done a great job. And they've done it with really terrific morale. I think one would, I'll be blunt, that I'm not blunt. 3 years ago, morale within the nursing department was fairly toxic. And we've made a 180-degree turn in that. And I compliment Jody for having taken a lead role in that. So other than that, the trend might not continue for the next couple months because we actually went live on the electronic medical record as of yesterday.
Saw that.
So very deliberate.
It's going to be rough for 6 months, I would say.
It's interesting. I said 2 weeks. Mark Fox said 3 months, and you're saying 6 months.
We went on a new EMR in our office last year, and it takes 6 months to get really comfortable.
To be fair, this EMR is we're focusing pretty much exclusively initially on just the immunization module. So I'm hoping it would be a little less.
More like 2 weeks.
But at any rate, well, no, I think it's going to be more like 3 months. I think Dr.
Okay.
Fox is right on this one. Otherwise, as always, I'm happy to answer any questions or more likely ask my team to answer the questions about which I might be ignorant.
If I could just add a comment to the Governor's Public Health Commission report. I wanted to say that we had a CTSI leadership team meeting at Notre Dame, and CTSI's Clinical Translational Science Institute leadership team meeting. And we are having our annual retreat that's coming up in the spring in like March. And we are using that document as a guiding tool for the retreat. So I think that's really awesome. And it speaks volumes to I think the commitment and acknowledgement at Notre Dame about how important public health is. And also to the partnership that Notre Dame has with the health department. So I just wanted to let you all know that, because I think that's, I think it's really important that gets elevated, so that we're all in the know about the kinds of things that we need to be doing here in Indiana to rebuild this public health infrastructure. So I'll just stop there. Go ahead.
I actually have a comment that builds on that.
Oh, okay.
On page 40. So I wanted to call attention to the data in our statewide and countywide preterm birth rates, which are abysmal. And states with better outcomes all have significantly higher public health funding. So I'm just wondering if we can engage with the state legislators about this, particularly in the wake of a comment from one of them that was reported in the South Bend Tribune that I read about 2 weeks ago, that he wouldn't want to give too much money to the state health or to the county health departments because we wouldn't know how to spend it. That was in the Tribune. I think it was the Speaker of the House who said that. And I'm just wondering if you have any interactions with him, because I know we know how to spend it. I mean, there are states that have 10 times the public health funding that we have, and they have the better outcomes to show for it. We have 10 times the maternal mortality that a state like California has. We have many times more than the national average, but California is funding public health at 10 times the rate we are. So you get what you pay for.
Trying to remember the name of the.
Sure.
No, it wasn't Michigan.
No.
I actually
Oh, was it?
contacted somebody who's from Valparaiso, who's one of the chairs of the committee. Gracious. Anyway, I did reach out to him. Did not get a response from him. Unfortunately, just suggested that we meet and be happy to talk to him after he had been speaking with HealthLink leadership, and HealthLink leadership encouraged him to reach out to me relative to just that question.
That comment.
Of how could the department use these resources to better the health of the public? And then I am, with the help of my entire team, we are putting together a document for Craig Gruber at Beacon, who will be meeting with Mishler And that document will outline how we could better the health of the public with additional funding. Of course, as everyone in this room already knows, we're already doing it because we're in deficit spending every year, right? And our budget is not balanced. And so just balancing our budget would be a great step forward. But we do have a number of bullet points, 8, 9, 10. What was it? Maybe 14 bullet points that we came up with as a group yesterday. I'll put that into some sort of a document. It's a relatively easy case to make if individuals are open to the need.
How do you suggest we go about talking about each point in the state study and how it might affect our strategic plan and what it really means to us at the local level? And that's, well, I'll let you answer that one. I have one follow-up question about.
I'd be happy to go through the strategic plan point by point, and we can go through it. And that,
Relative to what the governor's task force.
that's what I meant. I'm sorry, I didn't mean strategic plan. I meant the governor's task force goes through the recommendations that the governor's public health commission have made, and we can talk about what we are doing and what we're not doing in each of the various areas, and then talk about if we had more funding, how would that help us? So I'm happy to do that. We can do it at a Board of Health meeting, or we can do it in a 3-hour Saturday, whatever you're open to do. In addition, of course, once I have this document put together, I don't expect it to be particularly long because no one outside of perhaps us will actually read it. But we'll put that document and be happy to share that with everyone. So I'm happy to do that, John. And then as well, as I have gone through the Governor's Public Health Commission recommendations in my own mind, have tied it to the strategic plan from 3 years ago. And it fits very nicely together. So, and be happy to go through all that. Take as much time as you want to take to go through it.
Would you rather do it at a meeting or a special meeting, or, I mean, it doesn't matter to me.
It'll take some time,
Right.
To do it. I think to do it reasonably well. Just the recommendations probably take about, I don't know, I think it was 30-minute presentation that they gave, 30-40 minute. Then so I'm comfortable doing whatever you all want to do.
Seem like a special meeting wouldn't be needed rather than trying to do like a 2-3 hour in an evening like this or something. I'm just throwing that out there.
Go either way.
Yeah.
Does it-
It's important.
If we're all meeting together, does it have to be public? I don't know the rules.
Yes, it does
So it
have
has
to be public.
So it will be a public meeting no matter what we do.
Well, and that's not a bad
No, I don't
thing
think
either,
so.
because
Bad at all.
then we're educating others about both the refreshing everybody on the strategic plan and then educating people on the commission.
Because that state report was really depressing.
Yeah,
What I would love to see, John,
Where we
would-
stand.
coming from the board then, and this is my request of you, would be then for you to come up with a strategic plan for how the board then will help promote and nurture this.
Absolutely. If we need to go to the legislator, we should start doing that. One thing that did strike me, and I don't know if I'm misinterpreting it, but it looks like a lot of the other states are getting a lot of funding from CDC and NIH maybe, or whatever the other,
HRSA,
what's that?
HRSA. That's the acronym, HRSA.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. So I don't know if that's a factor in it, but that's stuff I don't understand that I'd love to talk
It's
about.
also,
I'm not sure I will-
we get funded differently than other states.
I'm not sure I will have the answer to that. What you're asking, I think, is how does Indiana Department of Health get their funding and where does their funding come from? Because it's not that the other local health departments at county level get funding from HRSA and CDC and whatnot. We do, of course, at least since I've been here, we've applied for extramural funding and
So it's more of a state.
relatively successful from CDC and from NACCHO and from private foundations. But that's been a change here within our own department over the last 3 years, and that's where our number of grants have increased. We as a county health department are not even allowed to compete for a lot of the funding that comes out of CDC. And so if the federal government, for example, just funded, I think it was like $2 billion for public health. But if you looked at who could actually apply for that $2 billion, it was only state health departments and cities with populations greater than 500,000. And so don't hold me to these numbers, but they're reasonably close. So the state of Indiana got $60 million. 50 million went to Indiana Department of Health, presumably then that they will distribute that in some way to the various counties. Marion County itself, 11 million, because they have this need that's greater than 500,000. We couldn't even apply for it as Mishawaka, South Bend
A lot of
together.
money. You could do a lot with that.
So do we want to do something like have a room at the library or
I'm happy
to
right.
accommodate?
I think we can do it right here. This room is just fine. And we got the screen, and I would want my basically the people who are here from my team, from the Department of Health, the unit managers, to be present during this, at least be invited to it, since they will all have expertise in their respective areas that I just don't have.
And you're thinking it's a 3-hour tour?
I'm just guessing that it may go that long. I would guess it would go 2 hours. Well, you all tell me. You tell me how long you want it, and I can do it. 2 hours, yeah.
That's three's pushing it. Let's start losing focus.
We can do it at this in January. If you want.
That's fine with me.
Who else would you want to come to the table? Do you want elected officials? Are there any nonprofits, other groups that you think you would want to invite?
My goal, Ellen, for this initial meeting would be principally to ensure that we as a department and a board are on the same page. That's really what I'd like. That's the main output. Number one output is make sure we're on the same page. And number two output would be that we as a department and a board have a coordinated plan for moving forward. It maybe then the next step would be, I could anticipate perhaps that the next step would be, okay, how do we reach out to elected officials? How do we reach out to XYZ not-for-profits? How do we reach out to ABC, higher educations of higher learning? These sorts of things, that there would be a progressive layered approach.
Thank you.
So at the next board meeting,
Yeah,
you're thinking at
The
the
next-
next board?
the next board meeting, and we just carve out for 2 hours, just we know that it will go a full 2 hours for the next board meeting.
So that will be so we'd have the
January 18th.
I don't want to be an elephant. I want to address the elephant in the room here. The board will likely change the composition. We will likely have a changed composition of the board come January. And so I think I would just encourage you all to keep that in mind as to whether you would want to have that before, after, or both when board membership composition changes.
So if we do it the next meeting, that's January 18th. That's when the next meeting is. I mean, whether
That's fine with me.
composition
I'm
changes
quite
or
pleased-
not,
I'm quite pleased to do it on January 18th.
I'm just trying to think what else needs to be, we have the health officer's report. And how long would everything else, we'd have to elect officers. What else has to be done at the next meeting?
The only thing that has to be done is health officer's report. I don't think we have anything on the standing agenda for January.
Okay.
right,
Correct.
we're not in a budget season or anything like that, so.
And the annual report does not have to be approved until the next month. Or is it March?
I feel like it's March, right?
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
So we don't have anything that we have to do
Right.
other than me literally submitting a report that could take 3 minutes.
That's fine with me. We can even start early if that makes sense to whoever might be here.
I think it is important to have the new members on, up to speed, but whether we do, I'm happy to do too. So.
All right, well, let's plan on that as part of the new business, and that we will then do a presentation on the commission's report.
Okay.
And talk about how it's connected to the Department of Health's strategic plan. Awesome. I think that's great.
So, naive question here. If
You had a
there
follow
is-
up, yeah.
If there is new members, would they be in place for the 18th meeting or not? I don't know.
I believe they
That's
will
up to
be.
the
commissioner.
commissioners,
Okay.
right?
So we're,
Should we wait until we see what happens?
it's not gonna matter. I mean, it's not our strategic plan, to be our strategic plan, the governor's plan,
Right.
the governor's plan, whoever's here should be informed on,
They'll just pick up the ball wherever,
yeah.
wherever they, come into it. Okay,
And it's open to the public, so if anybody's off that wants to attend, obviously.
Mm.
Are welcome.
all right. Any
My
other,
goal is, just so you're all aware, this weekend to put together a 2 or 3 page document and disseminate that, so you should receive something. You could, Craig is meeting with Mishler on the 21st, so I'm trying to get it to him a couple days before he meets with him.
So you, and you're gonna send that around to all of us too.
And I assume you all got the PowerPoint that Chris Fox sent out? If not,
Okay.
actually, why don't you just send that again, just to make sure that they have all that in place.
maybe, I think, yeah. I think.
We got that, and that was emailed to us. This is the full report. I just,
Okay.
I pulled it off the website.
You know what? That is what I have. I have the full report. So that's what I looked through. So I have to.
Going on to another topic, I just want to say that
It was emailed from.
I attended your talk at Notre Dame last month. That you know, that you invited everybody to, and I so enjoyed it. I thought it was really inspiring. It was really well presented. I wish all of you could have been there. It was a wonderful, wonderful talk on public health around the world, and very informative.
Thanks, Johanna. It felt good to be back in the mode of a professor.
Yeah, well, you're obviously comfortable at it.
I'd love to-
Feedback from the students was equally as,
Yeah, it
they
was,
were,
it was a
they
great,
really,
talk.
really enjoyed it.
It was a very interesting talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and it was nice to see members of the health department there too. There were a number of people from the health department there. It's really nice.
Any other questions about health officers report? If not, then we can move on to new business.
Okay.
And that is the appointment of Brett Davis to the on-site wastewater advisory board. Do you want to say give us any context for
Oh,
that appointment before we vote on it?
I should turn to John. He's probably better at this than I am. But you know, we have the two boards, the onsite wastewater advisory board and the water resources board. And we have from an statutory responsibility per St. Joseph County ordinance to have these advisory boards. They have been constituted. Actually, they were dormant for quite some time, reconstituted. But the membership is dictated per ordinance, but unfortunately, attendance has been less than optimal, and a number of individuals just simply haven't been attending, and so we have suggested replacing one of the members who has been in absentia more than 3 times in a row with Brett Davis, since Brett attends all the time anyway, and there is nothing in there that says it couldn't be the assistant director of environmental health to be on the on-site wastewater advisory board. And quite frankly, he knows, and John, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong on this one, he knows about as much, if not more, than almost everyone else on the board.
That's fair.
Okay.
Is Mark on that also?
Now, Mark has to show up, I think, as in his duty.
No, the environmental health director is an automatic appointment.
Oh, you're automatic.
Vote for it.
Okay.
To vote.
Okay.
All right, cool. Well, so let's if I could have a motion to,
Let me just to say one more thing, sorry. So the Board of Health has a responsibility to appoint a few members. Commissioners have a responsibility, county council have a responsibility. So so this would be the Board of Health's appointee.
exactly. Okay,
Is it a 2-year, 3-year term? I forget.
3-year.
3-year term? Well, I'll make a motion that we appoint Brett Davis
Yeah,
to represent the board.
is that a second?
I'd second it.
Okay.
But I was saying, yes, it's good that John made the motion, because that's his board. That's good. That's your.
Any other discussion regarding this appointment? Hearing.
Yeah.
Question already.
Because he might,
Yeah.
he attends anyway, so he knows he'll be able to talk.
Yeah, I mean, for every board meeting, I've been the only member of the general public who has been in attendance. Make it so that way we actually have a quorum.
Okay, that's.
All right, that is good.
That's
Good
good,
news.
yeah.
All right, so hearing no discussion, we'll take a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we have voted and appointed
Okay.
Brett Davis to the On-Site Wastewater Advisory Board. Awesome. Congratulations, Brett. Okay, so moving on to the next big agenda item is setting our meeting schedule for next year. It's on the third, it's exactly as we've been having it, the third Wednesdays of the month at 4:30. The dates are laid out there. I see that December 20 does kind of come close to the Christmas date, but we can modify that as we get close to it, just like we did for this meeting. So if perhaps we could have a motion to accept this meeting schedule.
So moved.
Thank you. In a second,
Second,
any discussion? Hearing none, we will go ahead and vote on the meeting schedule. All those in favor of adopting this meeting schedule for 2023, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. We have adopted the board meeting schedule for next year. And we have no old business. Board notifications. We have a hiring Melanie Martinez as an environmental health staff assistant. Welcome. We did have a resignation in the same department, Letitia Wright, and we wish her the best. And then finally, with public comment. Jenny, do we have anybody signed up for public?
Cynthia Heckerman Davis.
Cynthia Heckman Davis. Welcome, and I have to read the same statement that I read every single month. At regular meetings, the public is invited to address the board for 3 minutes regarding items posted or not posted on the agenda. Individuals may only speak once during this section of the agenda. Speakers shall properly identify themselves by stating their name and address for the record. Personnel issues are not to be addressed during open sessions of the Board of Health. The board president may interrupt, warn, or terminate any person's statement if the statement becomes personally directed, abusive, obscene, or inflammatory. And I'll set the timer for 3 minutes and then turn it over to you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Dr. Heckman Davis, 125 Gemini Lane, Walkerton, Indiana. And I'll try to keep this within 3 minutes. There's new research that is showing that 3.2 million lives have been saved in the United States and 18.5 million hospitalizations averted. And the United States has saved $1.15 trillion thanks to the God-given wisdom in developing the COVID vaccine. This is done by researchers at the University of Maryland, York University, and the Yale School of Public Health. I wanted to thank our board for their immunization clinics. It's clear that the vaccine has been working in Buffalo. And it's also clear that the fight isn't over. I actually have read part of the Governor Holcomb's Public Health Commission. And I have to say that I was distressed at many of the findings. There's a 9-year discrepancy in life expectancy between our poorer counties and our richer counties, for example. Indiana is 45th in state funding. So our local health departments need to increase personnel, services, and capabilities. Our public health funding has traditionally been a low priority for our General Assembly. Our local health department, I think, has done an exceptional job of developing community partnerships. That was one of the recommendations, so I'd like to thank you for that. Strong community partnerships. And I have also already emailed my local representative and my local state senator to ask them to fund fully the commissioner's report suggestions. That probably won't be the last time I email them regarding this issue. I plan to keep pestering them. The other thing that I wanted to comment was that on Tuesday, I attended the Board of Commissioners meeting and asked regarding the Johnson & Johnson opioid settlement. And our county is getting $500,000 as part of the 70% that goes to direct opioid abatement. And there's a 30% that would be $140,000 that is more discretionary funding according to the settlement. So those are funds that I am sure will be well used in our community. That's going to be a 17-year repeating sort of deal. So again, I wanted to thank you for the immunization clinics, for the COVID vaccine. And also, I remain hopeful. I will be interested in next month's meeting. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And what time are we? Oh, my Lord.
5 o'clock.
I've got 5 o'clock straight up, you guys. We are adjourned at 5 o'clock. Next meeting is January 18th, 4:30. That's amazing.
But what about the?
Oh, that's right. We have to get a photograph for the annual report.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, that's nice. Oh, in front of the sign.
Oh,
I can bring those to the office if you want.
you know what?
Traveling, but I'm just gonna stay with my family, hanging out with my dog.
You got it. So good enough.
John and Ellen, come on over.
I'm gonna stand on that side.
To balance it out.
Still think we're twins.
Turn sideways.